Have you ever looked in the mirror and quietly admitted something you've never told anyone else? That maybe, just maybe, the biggest thing standing between you and the life you want isn't your job, isn't your childhood, isn't your lack of money, isn't bad luck. It's the story you've been telling yourself. Think about that for a moment. Every day, millions of people wake up with dreams. They want to get healthier, build a successful business, write a book, learn a valuable skill, become financially free, travel the world, create a life they're proud of. Yet, 12 months later, most are standing in exactly the same place. Not because they lack talent, not because they lacked opportunity, but because they allowed excuses to become stronger than their commitment. Here's something most people never realize. Excuses rarely sound like excuses. They disguise themselves as logic. I'll start when I have more time. I'm too busy right now. I'll wait until next month. Things are just difficult at the moment. Someone else has better opportunities than I do. At first, those thoughts seem harmless, but repeated every day, they quietly become beliefs, and beliefs become habits. Eventually, those habits become your life. One day you wake up and wonder, where did all the time go? Why am I still in the same place? The answer isn't usually one big mistake. It's thousands of small moments when comfort won over courage, when delay replaced action, when fear disguised itself as reason. The truth is, your future doesn't care about your intentions. It responds only to your actions. You don't become healthier because you wanted to. You become healthier because you exercised. You don't become financially free because you dreamed about it. You become financially free because you consistently made better decisions. You don't become confident by waiting. You become confident by doing difficult things until they no longer scare you. Today's message isn't about making you feel good for 20 minutes. It's about helping you confront the one thing that may be silently stealing your future. The habit of making excuses. Because the moment excuses lose their power, your life begins to change. Stay with me until the end, because the final lesson ties everything together. It's a mindset that has helped ordinary people accomplish extraordinary things, not because they were special, but because they stopped waiting for perfect conditions. This could be the conversation that changes the direction of your life. Let's begin. Lesson 1. Every excuse has a hidden price. Imagine someone hands you a backpack. Inside is one small stone. It's light. You barely notice it. The next day, another stone is added. Then another, and another. Weeks turn into months. Months become years. Eventually, the backpack becomes almost impossible to carry. That's exactly how excuses work. One excuse doesn't seem dangerous. Skipping one workout doesn't seem important. Ignoring one opportunity doesn't seem life-changing. Putting off one difficult conversation feels harmless, but those decisions accumulate. Every excuse adds another stone. One day you realize you're carrying a weight you built yourself. Here's what makes excuses so dangerous. The price is rarely paid immediately. If you overspend today, nothing dramatic happens. If you procrastinate this week, life continues. If you avoid learning a new skill this year, the consequences remain invisible. Time hides the cost, but eventually, the bill arrives. Years later, people often blame bad luck, the economy, other people, their circumstances. When in reality, many of their struggles were built one excuse at a time. Imagine planting two gardens. One is watered every day. The other is ignored. For several weeks, both look almost identical. Then something changes. One begins to bloom. The other fills with weeds. Success works exactly the same way. Your daily decisions are planting seeds, whether you realize it or not. Ask yourself honestly, what excuse have you repeated so many times that it now feels like the truth? Write it down. Then challenge it, because many of the limits we accept aren't facts, They're simply stories we've repeated until we stopped questioning them. Lesson 2: action creates confidence. One of the biggest lies people believe is this: I'll start when I feel confident. But confidence has never worked that way. Imagine learning to swim. Would you stand safely beside the pool, waiting until you magically felt confident enough? Of course not. Confidence arrives after you enter the water. The same is true for nearly every worthwhile goal. The first workout feels uncomfortable. The first speech feels terrifying. The first business idea feels uncertain. The first video you upload might receive very few views. That's completely normal. Every successful person you admire once stood exactly where you are now. Unsure, inexperienced, nervous. The difference wasn't fearlessness. The difference was movement. Imagine walking through a thick forest before sunrise. The path ahead is dark. You can only see one step. If you refuse to move until the entire path is visible, you'll remain exactly where you are. But the moment you take the first step, the next one becomes clear, then the next. Life rewards motion, not hesitation. Every action sends your brain a powerful message. I'm capable. I keep my promises. I can figure things out. That message slowly becomes your identity, and identity shapes your future. Stop waiting for certainty. Stop waiting for perfect timing. Stop waiting to feel ready. Start moving, because action creates clarity. Action creates confidence. Action creates momentum. And momentum changes lives. Imagine two sculptors standing before identical blocks of marble. The first spends years studying techniques, planning every detail, waiting for the perfect moment to begin. The second picks up the hammer. The first strike is awkward. The second isn't much better. The 100th still isn't perfect, but every strike teaches something. Every mistake improves the next attempt. Years later, one person owns shelves filled with notebooks. The other has a gallery filled with masterpieces. The difference wasn't talent. It wasn't intelligence. It wasn't luck. The difference was simple. One waited to become ready. The other became ready by working. Your life follows the same principle. You'll never think your way into a different future. You have to act your way there. Take a moment to think about everything we've discussed so far. Excuses aren't protecting you. They're quietly stealing opportunities you'll never get back. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build every time you choose action over hesitation. Today, you have a choice. You can close this video and continue living exactly as you have before. Or you can make one decision, one small action. That begins changing the direction of your life. Because transformation never begins with giant leaps. It begins with one honest decision, one courageous step, one promise kept. But these first two lessons are only the beginning. Lesson 3. Comfort is slowly stealing your potential. Imagine an eagle that has spent its entire life inside a cage. It has food, water, shelter, everything it needs to survive. One day, someone opens the cage. The eagle looks outside, but never leaves. Not because it can't fly, because it has forgotten that it can. Many people live exactly like that, not trapped by chains, but by comfort. Comfort convinces you that staying where you are is safer than discovering what you're capable of. It says, don't risk looking foolish. Don't try something new. Don't leave the familiar. But every great achievement begins with discomfort. Every athlete remembers the pain of their first workout. Every entrepreneur remembers the uncertainty of their first business. Every author remembers staring at a blank page. Growth has always demanded discomfort, not because pain is valuable, but because transformation requires change. Think about a seed. Before it becomes a tree, it must break open. From the outside, it looks like destruction. In reality, it's the beginning of growth. Sometimes life has to break your comfort before it can reveal your strength. So ask yourself, what have you been avoiding simply because it feels uncomfortable? That answer may be pointing directly toward the future you've been asking for. Lesson 4. Small disciplines. Beat. Rare motivation. People often wait for a burst of inspiration. They tell themselves, when I feel motivated, I'll finally change. But motivation is unpredictable. Some days it's there, some days it isn't. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It asks only one question. Will you do what needs to be done? Imagine two builders. One works only when the weather is perfect. The other works every day. Rain, heat, cold, wind. After a year, who do you think has finished the house? Success belongs to the one who kept building, not the one who waited for perfect conditions. The same is true for your life. One workout won't transform your body. One chapter won't make you an expert. One day of saving won't make you wealthy. But repeated over months and years, those small actions become impossible to ignore. The secret isn't intensity, it's consistency. Never underestimate what an ordinary day can accomplish. Ordinary day becomes another, then another. Eventually, you wake up living a life that once seemed impossible. Lesson 5. Stop negotiating with your goals. The alarm goes off immediately. The negotiation begins. 5 more minutes. You promised yourself you'd start that project. Maybe after lunch, you decided to save money. Just this one purchase. Your mind is an expert negotiator. It will always offer a reason to delay. The problem is tomorrow's excuse usually sounds exactly like today's highly successful people. Understand something important. Every time you negotiate with your commitments, you weaken your trust in yourself. Every time you follow through, you strengthen it. Think of your word as a contract. If you constantly break that contract with yourself, eventually you stop believing your own promises. Imagine telling a friend you'll meet them at 8 every morning. Then you fail to show up again, and again, and again. Eventually, they stop expecting you. The same thing happens inside. Your own mind, your confidence, disappears when your actions stop matching your words. So make fewer promises, but keep every one of them. Because self-respect grows every time you prove that your word means something. Have you ever watched water slowly carve through solid rock? Not because it's stronger, because it never stops flowing. Day after day, year after year, the rock eventually gives way. Persistence always outlasts resistance to your goals are no different. The obstacle isn't usually impossible. It simply requires more consistency than most people are willing to give. Don't try to be extraordinary every day. Simply refuse to quit. That alone puts you ahead of most people. Lesson 6. Failure is your greatest teacher. Most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid failure. They avoid applying for the job because they might hear no. They never start the business because it might fail. They never ask the question because they fear rejection. They never chase the dream because they're afraid of looking foolish. But here's something remarkable. Failure has never destroyed a dream. Quitting has. Imagine learning to walk as a child. You fall again and again, hundreds of times. Yet no baby ever sits on the floor and says, maybe walking just isn't for me. They stand back up because they don't see failure. They see learning. Somewhere along the way, adults forget this. One setback becomes a permanent identity. I failed quickly becomes I'm a failure. Those two statements are worlds apart. One describes an event. The other describes a person. Never confuse the two. Failure isn't your identity, it's your education. Every successful entrepreneur has failed. Every great athlete has lost. Every respected leader has made painful mistakes. What separates them isn't perfection, it's persistence. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Start asking, what is this experience trying to teach me? That single question transforms pain into progress. Lesson 7. Become the person your future needs. Everyone talks about changing their life. Very few people talk about changing themselves. Imagine trying to harvest apples from a tree that has never been planted. Impossible. Yet people expect extraordinary results while refusing to develop extraordinary habits. They want success without discipline, confidence without courage, freedom without responsibility. Life doesn't work that way. Results grow from identity. Your habits grow from your identity. And your future grows from your habits. Instead of asking, "How can I become rich?" ask, "What kind of person consistently creates value?" Instead of asking, "How do I become successful?" ask, "How does a successful person think every morning?" Those questions shift your attention away from outcomes and toward becoming. Because once you become the right person, the results begin following naturally. A disciplined person doesn't struggle to stay consistent. Consistency has become part of who they are. A confident person isn't fearless. They've simply practiced courage so many times that courage feels normal. Identity always comes before achievement. Become first, receive later. Lesson 8. Stop comparing your life to everyone else's. Comparison is one of the fastest ways to destroy progress. Today, it's easier than ever. You open your phone. Within seconds, you see someone buying a new house, starting a company, traveling the world, living what appears to be the perfect life. Without realizing it, you begin questioning your own journey. But here's what social media rarely shows: the sleepless nights, the failures, the sacrifices, the years of uncertainty. You're comparing your everyday reality to someone else's highlight reel. Imagine watching the final 5 minutes of a movie. Without seeing the first 2 hours, nothing would make sense. That's exactly what comparison does. You see someone's success without seeing the years it took to build it. Run your own race. Your timeline belongs to you. The only person you need to be better than is the person you were yesterday. If you're improving, you're winning. Because success isn't about arriving before everyone else. It's about refusing to stop moving forward. Imagine 2 mountain climbers. The first spends the entire climb looking at everyone else's progress. Who's ahead? Who's behind? Who has better equipment? Who seems stronger? The second climber keeps their eyes on the next step. One step, then another. Hour after hour. By sunset, only one reaches the summit. Not because they were the strongest, but because they refused to waste energy comparing. Life rewards focus, not comparison. Lesson 9. Your future is created by the decisions. You imagine waking up tomorrow morning. Nothing about your life looks different. The same room, the same routine, the same responsibilities. At first glance, it feels like nothing has changed. But then you make one different decision. Instead of hitting the snooze button, you get out of bed. Instead of reaching for your phone, you read 10 pages of a book. Instead of complaining, you begin working. Instead of avoiding the difficult task, you finish it first. One decision, that's all. Now imagine repeating those same decisions tomorrow, then the next day, then next week. Months pass, years pass. Eventually people begin asking, how did you become so disciplined? How did you become so successful? They think it happened overnight. They only see the result. They never saw the thousands of invisible choices that built it. Your future isn't created by one life-changing day. It's created by ordinary days lived differently. Every decision is a vote for the person you're becoming. Every action shapes your identity. Every habit writes another page of your story. The question isn't whether your choices matter. The question is, what story are your choices writing? Stop waiting for the perfect moment. One of the greatest lies people believe is this: one day I'll be ready. But readiness isn't something that arrives. It's something you create. Imagine a sailor waiting for the perfect wind. Every morning he looks at the sky. Not today. Weeks pass. Months pass. Years pass. His boat never leaves the harbor. Meanwhile, another sailor studies the wind, adjusts the sails, learns from every storm, and slowly crosses the ocean. Life rewards movement, not perfect conditions. There will always be uncertainty. There will always be fear. There will always be reasons to wait, but there will never be a perfect time. If you keep waiting for certainty, you'll spend your entire life preparing for a journey you never begin. The greatest opportunities often belong to those who move before they feel completely ready. Discipline is the highest form of self-respect. People often think discipline is punishment. It isn't. Discipline is self-respect in action. Imagine two versions of yourself. The first constantly breaks promises, sleeps through opportunities, avoids responsibility, chooses comfort. The second keeps their word, shows up every day, finishes what they start, faces discomfort without running from it. Which version would you trust? Exactly. Confidence doesn't come from positive thinking. It comes from evidence. Every promise you keep gives your mind evidence that you're dependable. Every excuse gives your mind evidence that you're not. Eventually, you become exactly the person your habits prove you are. So stop asking, how do I become more confident? Start asking, what promise can I keep today? Because confidence is earned. One promise at a time. An old craftsman was once asked, "How did you become so skilled?" He smiled and pointed to a wall covered with worn-out tools. Then he said, "Every tool you see here made mistakes before it created something beautiful." The visitor looked confused. The craftsman continued, "People admire the finished work. They rarely appreciate the years of practice, failure, and patience hidden behind it." Your life is no different. One difficult morning, one disciplined choice, one uncomfortable conversation, one extra hour spent learning. They don't seem important today, but one day you'll look back and realize those ordinary moments built an extraordinary life. Let's remember the 9 lessons we've explored. Lesson 1. Every excuse has a hidden price. Small delays create big regrets. Lesson 2. Confidence follows action. Move first, believe later. Lesson 3. Comfort quietly steals your potential. Growth begins where comfort ends. Lesson 4. Daily habits shape your future more than occasional motivation. Small disciplines create extraordinary lives. Lesson 5. Stop negotiating with your goals. Keep your promises to yourself. Lesson 6. Failure is not the end. It's the beginning of wisdom. Lesson 7. Become the person your future requires. Success follows identity. Lesson 8. Run your own race. Comparison steals focus. Progress builds confidence. Lesson 9. Your future is created by the decisions you repeat. Consistency always defeats intensity. None of these lessons require perfect genetics. None require extraordinary talent. None require luck. They require responsibility. And responsibility is where real freedom begins. Imagine yourself 1 year from today. 2 different futures stand before you. In one, nothing changes. The excuses continue. The goals remain unfinished. The same conversations, the same frustrations, the same regrets. In the other future, you didn't become perfect. You simply became consistent. You kept showing up, even when you didn't feel like it. You kept learning, even when progress was slow. You kept believing, even when nobody else noticed. Now ask yourself, which future are today's choices creating? Because your future isn't built someday, it's built today. One decision at a time. One habit at a time. One promise at a time. If this message challenged the way you think, don't let it become another video you forget tomorrow. Close this video. Stand up and take one action you've been postponing. Send the email. Start the workout. Read the first chapter. Make the phone call. Write the first page. Apply for the opportunity. Whatever it is, do it today. Because action is where transformation begins. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more original, motivational content designed to help you build discipline, mental toughness, confidence, and lasting success. And before you leave, tell me in the comments, what's one excuse you're leaving behind today? I read as many comments as I can, and your answer might inspire someone else to take their first step. Remember, your life doesn't change when you find the perfect motivation. It changes when you decide that your excuses no longer control your choices. Until next time, stay disciplined, stay focused, keep moving forward, because the strongest version of yourself isn't waiting in the future. It's being built by the decisions you make today.